This is Steve Robbins. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys, quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. Incorporating a new recruit into your zombie army can be tricky. Of course, you'll help create the all-important zombie recruit misunderstood villain dynamic by using a process conversation, as described in episode 513, How to Strengthen Relationships with Process Conversations. We learned to make relationships successful from day one by synchronizing up on our communication medium, how we give and receive feedback, work style, and other aspects of the relationship. But there's more. It's not enough to anticipate what you need to do to work well together. The flip side, which we almost never talk about, is anticipating how things might break. And since zombies are made of rotting flesh, let's just say they break a lot more easily than you'd expect. Vulnerability is key. Talking about how things break takes courage. You have to admit that things might, break. And in our culture, we always want to project an aura of absolute certainty and confidence. If you're under 30 listening to this, I have a horrible life spoiler for you. Very few people actually know what they're doing. Job title is no predictor of ability. Confidence is no predictor of ability. Some of the most competent people you'll ever meet have the lowest confidence. Have you ever heard of imposter syndrome? And many of the least competent people have high confidence, very high confidence, the best confidence. Ugh. None of us wants to admit that we're not perfect. It opens us up and makes us vulnerable. So I'll go first. Access your inner hippie. I moved a lot as a kid. I grew up in a traveling New Age commune. We would move into town and start a psychic growth center. Word would spread, and lickety-split, none of the kids would be allowed to play with me. You've heard of the kids from the other side of the tracks? Ta-da! That's me. For 12-year-old me, this was really hard. Middle school is hard enough for kids who are well-adjusted, popular, and into sports. When you're small for your age, smart, have zero social skills, and were raised as a conscientious objector, let's just say you get an awful lot of feedback from your peers. I ended up emotionally scarred for life, but scar tissue is tough. My therapist and I are working on it. So now, being open is easy for me. The ambassador to the court of St. James invites me to a black tie New Year's Eve reception. I grab a thick piece of black rope and tie it around my waist to keep my loincloth on. And when I don't win the Best Dressed award, it doesn't crush my ego. I just make a note to myself, the phrase black tie does not mean what you think it means. Be me. Seriously, just be me. Pretend you've already been made fun of, pushed down the stairs, ridiculed for wearing glasses, beaten up for being weird, and you survived. But also keep enough of you to be realistic. You don't want to learn the loincloth lesson. Trust me, I learned it for you. Got it? Okay, are you me yet? Good. Now you're ready to be vulnerable enough to establish stronger relationships with other people. Since you listened to episode 513, you're already having your process conversation at the start of a new relationship. For relationships where you and the other person have to depend on each other, consider going deeper. Zombie recruit and supervillain is a symbiotic relationship, like teammates or boss-subordinate, or even like a romantic relationship or a polycule. For these deeper relationships, conduct a risk assessment. Each person in the relationship should answer the following question. What is your blind spot? If the project or relationship were to fail because of you, what would be the most likely cause? Start with yourself so that you can set an example of honesty. So here's my real-life answer. If a project is going to fail because of me, it's because I get caught up in perfectionism. When 70% is good enough, I'll shoot for 99%, and I will spend as much time getting from 70% to 99% as it took to get to 70% in the first place. My zombie recruit might answer, blah, 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 blah. Translation, of course, is, if a project were to fail because of me, it would be because I have no higher brain functions and my limbs keep falling off. Now that you know everyone's blind spot, strategize ways to complement each other. That's complement with an E. If my weak spot is perfectionism, my zombie recruit can be my judge of good enough. As soon as their challenged brain thinks that my product is good enough, I'll take that as an acceptable quality level. Since their weakness is an unfortunate lack of body cohesion, I can easily leave space in my backpack. If their body parts fall off during meetings, I just discreetly toss them in the backpack for the zombie to reattach later in the privacy of their own office. Your tasks illuminate your blind spots. You may not know what your own blind spots are. After all, they're blind. Ha! Some self-reflection, however, will help. And the best way to figure this out is to examine your tasks. What kind of tasks never seem to get done around you? If you scan your task list for undone tasks, is there any pattern? Are the prospecting and sales tasks still not done? Is administrative paperwork still pending 6 months later? Have you been saying, I really need to organize the folders on my desktop for more than 6 years? These give you insight into your blind spots. But let me give you some specifics, and maybe these apply to you, so think about them a bit. Here's a list of things that are everywhere in life. I mean everywhere. Most of us only notice some of these, however. Consider them. Any of these that you don't habitually notice are, by definition, blind spots. Interpersonal considerations. How people react to what's going on around them, how teams get along, how people treat each other, what emotional signals they send out, intentionally or not. Do you have a blind spot around interpersonal considerations? Process considerations. Are things being done efficiently? Does the process make sense? Is it repeatable? Goals to be reached. Is there a clear vision that you're working towards? Do you proceed with that vision in mind, always acting to take yourself in that direction? Visionary leaders and salespeople are very often goal-oriented, sometimes to the point of ignoring problems. If you doubt, check out either of the Fire Festival documentaries on Netflix or Hulu. Billy and Ja Rule are goal-oriented. Problems to be fixed. Maybe this is where your blind spot is. Do you notice what's going wrong and get motivated to find solutions? Do you anticipate problems and take preventative action? Again, watch the Fire Festival documentary. Andy King is the kind of person who finds and fixes problems. Fixers can get so motivated by fixing problems that they create them if there are none around to fix. Quality. Maybe your blind spot is quality. Some people are super concerned about quality. They'll happily hold up their company's revenue for 3 months just to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Deadlines. Maybe your blind spot is around deadlines. Some people are deadline driven. The self-driving car is still accidentally targeting pedestrians when it goes through an intersection? Not a problem. We'll just take out insurance. Now get that thing on the market in time for our quarterly analyst call. Underconfidence. Maybe you don't really know what you're capable of, so you don't step up when you could be doing something amazing and incredible. Overconfidence. Maybe you're really confident about everything, especially things you thought of, whether or not you were qualified to think of those things, like rocket science or brain surgery on a rocket ship. You saw it in a movie, so how hard can it be? Strive for mutual success, because at the end of the day, it's about combining the skills and talents of all of you so the relationship lifts you both up. Do a standard relationship pre-mortem, as discussed in episode 513, to make sure that you know the best way to work together. And then if it seems appropriate, get vulnerable. Share your blind spots with each other and find ways to cover for each other as necessary. Then you can stride confidently, or if you're a zombie, you can shamble incoherently, into a successful future together. I'm Steve Robbins. Follow Get It Done Guy on Twitter and Facebook, and if you're an entrepreneur, self-employed, or otherwise need to control your own time, Get It Done groups can help you start finishing what's important and developing the habits you need to be hyper-productive. Learn more at getitdonegroups.com. We are celebrating 300 million downloads here at Quick and Dirty Tips, and we want to hear from you. Leave me a message at 929-356-4583, which spells wax elm glue, and let me know why you love Get It Done Guy. Your recording may be used in a future episode. That's wax elm glue, 929-356-4583. Looking forward to hearing from you. Work less, do more, and have a great life.